Welcome to Came From a Podcast. Joining me today is Cristina and Michael Marie Skinner. I combined your names,
Marie
guys.
Skinner.
All right, that's the fusion.
We're a fusion now.
I combined
That's
your
the
names, and the reason I did that is because of Voltron, and that's something we're going to talk about a little later. But you see how I tie things together? It just works that way.
It's genius. It just caught me off guard.
Yeah. So today we have a fun-packed family show for the kids out there.
Absolutely.
I don't know why I said that last family thing. It may get a little violent. The reason I say it's going to get violent is because we're starting off with Microsoft's AI, and it's called Tay. Have you guys heard of that?
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, I heard briefly. I just saw like a bunch of
Okay.
stuff on Twitter about it, but I didn't actually know what it was until after it lost its mind.
Yeah.
He was it was supposed to be an AI that's supposed to mimic the personality of a 19-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it got pretty ugly. She started off really sweet, like wishing the world like a happy puppy day,
Yeah.
International Puppy Day.
The reason it's so weird is because it's meant for teens and people in their 20s. So I guess for the most part, millennials. And what it does, it responds to conversations and it learns from them using keywords, which it then can repeat. So if you tell it, hey, have a great day, it'll repeat to you, have a great day, kind of thing, right? So
Right.
I don't know who thought this was a good idea. Because
Somebody that's never been on the internet.
yeah, pretty much. I love this because this is a proof of concept as to why we should not develop AI, or at least keep it stupid.
Oh, I feel like we should develop AI. We should. It's a double-edged sword.
Well, how
But we
about
should.
Terminator 2?
That's a
Skynet.
possibility, but is it really that bad?
Well,
Have you seen this
Yeah.
new like skin latex that they've developed that like it literally looks like if you've seen Ex Machina, it looks just like those robots. Like only the top part of their head is robotic. The rest of it looks like a human. It's kind of creepy.
It is
Yeah.
creepy.
But they've been developing like some pretty crazy looking skin for it, and I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
It's definitely scary. So the reason I don't like it is because in a few hours, as soon as this launched, and this AI was living on Twitter, so it was just pretty much like a profile. It came off, like I said, like a teenager, like a young kind of person, and a few hours in, it was already being racist and sexist due to all the mentions on Twitter. So people
The
were,
tr-
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
feeding it racism.
But the problem is this: AI pretty much learns off of the internet, and sadly, some of the worst parts of the internet cannot be ignored. So, of course, this is a good example of that. It's like, I can't even say some of the things that happened, but it worked out badly. But the next day, as soon as it was released the next day, it was cut off. It was killed off. It actually came back today for a little bit. It bugged out. It started repeating itself over and over and over again, and it's gone again. So that was a little
But
weird.
what was the experiment like? What were they trying to accomplish with this? Like, what is it they were actually trying to make it do?
One of the
Well-
things. I'm sorry. Go.
Yeah, it's research based, so they're just testing it out, and they're doing a lot of experiments all over. This was Microsoft running
Yeah,
their
they-
experiments. Yeah.
They're known for all kinds of crazy experiments. What's sort of funny is that Microsoft had their own line of phones, and I say had because in a sense they're not really doing much with them now. It may cut off completely until they revitalize it somehow. But what they did is they had their own phone, yet a lot of apps for Android, which is extremely weird if you think about it. But the reason they do it is because Android has the amount of consumers you need to really test some of these things out, and they actually release a ton of apps. I do love how they experiment with things. This is not one of them, clearly, just because one of the tweets, just to quote one of the tweets, it said Hitler did nothing wrong! Exclamation point. So that alone gives you
Obviously.
a small idea of how it is. The rest of the stuff, I honestly cannot even say it. Like if I did, I'd have to beep out every single word. But it got
Yeah, I read some of them, but they're pretty
extremely
vulgar.
racist. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was over the top, and at that point, I thought that was perfect because, all the geniuses in the world are saying, let's be careful with AI right now because it's in a scary place, and those movies weren't that far off from the truth. So, this is probably a good example of that already going haywire.
I mean, what are they gonna do now moving forward? Like they're just gonna. I mean, how do you not have it pick up the bad stuff? Like it's kind of impossible.
There's no
Like,
way.
it's gonna...
Yeah.
Well, what they want to do is they want to develop emotional intelligence. That's what they left out.
So like it has like a right and wrong kind of in it.
Yeah,
like it knows...
conscience. Yeah, definitely.
Right.
So it knows what, like it has a sense of morality. So it could say like, no, that's bad. I'm not gonna learn from that and repeat that. It's kind of crazy because it mirrors like human
consciousness.
nature.
Yeah, it's like
That's the
knowing right
problem
from
though,
wrong.
is
That's what
that
makes you human.
the issue being that if it's AI, all it takes is a single bug to make it think, okay, well, clearly the issue here is humans, so we must wipe them out. Hence Voltron.
Yes.
Ultron. I said Voltron.
AI is it's a very scary thought, but it's coming, and
Yeah, it's inevitable.
No, it's
and
already
you
here
see
to a
it
certain
every
extent.
day. It's
Yeah,
already
exactly.
here. Yeah, you see it everywhere. You see it like Siri, even as far as something that I see it every day is like in Facebook. If you tag a picture or you post, you have like an album, you make a photo album, automatically it tags all your friends. Like it's learned, like
To identify faces. And stuff.
identify faces and names. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's absurd.
Well, you know what's crazy though is the fact that there's a huge chance that the Lego Batman movie will be better than Batman versus Superman. And I would not have been able to say that a few months ago.
I'm actually excited. The trailers were pretty cool. I haven't seen the first Lego movie, only pieces of it.
Really?
And I love the
What are you
animation on
doing?
it. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
You're missing out, dude.
Like I've seen like a scene. Like I was in a doctor's office once, and they were playing it, and I was actually really impressed with like when they shoot bullets, they're actually like little pieces from the Legos and stuff. And I thought the animation was cool, but I'm really excited for the Batman movie. It looks pretty funny.
Yeah, the way, I mean, you know what? The studio behind it, I completely forgot. I wish I took a note of that, but they nailed this mixture of 3D like CGI with actual props, like Lego props, so
it
well.
Looks like it's
It looks so cool.
Yeah, it's so
And
well stylized.
judging by the trailer, it's gonna be so funny. Already, I love Will Arnett. I love him so much from Arrested Development.
Yeah, Will Arnett will be voicing Batman. Yeah, and I love the guy.
And I recently started watching him on Flaked, on Netflix, and so
yes,
he's really funny. And
I think he's a great magician. Yes.
He's a great magician.
Yeah. Arrested Development.
Oh, sorry,
Right.
I don't understand the reference.
It's okay, man. They're inside jokes. You don't know because you're not inside.
It's just cool because it
No.
literally looks like it's stop motion and it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty clever how they've managed to turn these Legos into like an actual series now. So
Yeah, I love it.
there's literally Lego everything now. I mean, I thought there was Lego everything when I was a kid, but now there's literally like Lego everything.
Yeah, there really
Everything
is. Yeah.
Legoed.
And
Yeah.
I think it came at a great time because with how badly Batman versus Superman did, like with this trailer, Batman's kind of making fun of himself. It's just great timing. We needed that.
So
but this isn't the movie that everybody was hoping to replace Batman versus Superman
No,
with.
of course.
I don't think it's like, don't worry, man, this movie sucked, but don't worry, the Lego movie's coming out, so we'll be okay.
And it says it's coming out in 2017, so.
Yeah, it's coming out
it's gonna
soon.
be a while.
Well, I think this has
Soon.
they must have waited to show this because of Batman versus Superman. So I think they did it like right after the release. We got 2 trailers in 1 week, and normally you don't see that. Now, it's not because people don't like sharing content. It's just that it's a waste to put that much content out right away. But in a sense, these aren't trailers as much as they are teasers because it's pretty much Will Arnett, voicing Batman, just making fun of, like a few things here and there. The second trailer actually had Batman referencing previous other Batman movies. So it's self-aware, which I love. Because that sort of gives you an idea. I'm not gonna give you any spoilers, Skinner, because in the Lego movie you do get an idea of what's going on. So go watch it.
There's no trailer spoilers, right? Okay.
Well, no, we can't. Well, we can't spoil the movie for him specifically. I mean, we
I
can
don't
spoil
care.
the trailer.
Go
There's
ahead.
really nothing spoiled. We're no
Unless it has
need
like
to hide
anything like
anything on
Sixth
there.
Sense or something, don't spoil
No.
that.
No,
I don't think it
my
does.
favorite thing was just Alfred in one of the trailers. He was just mentioning like every year that Batman was reincarnated in film, I guess.
They showed
Yeah.
it lift the
And
bat
it, it
nipples.
yeah, and he had to have mentioned like at least 15 years, like and
Yeah.
pretty recent. So it just makes fun of
He-
itself.
Well,
That
yeah,
we
he
kind
even
of like,
mentioned this one. He even mentioned Batman vs Superman, which was cool.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
He says 2016.
Well, the thing
So
is, there was no plot details. It was definitely a teaser, and I actually love that, to be honest. The Lego Movie, I got some details as to what was going on, but even without it, I still would have watched it. It's just it looks so gorgeous. It really does. And one thing that I really believe in is that it's just comedy. It's great comedy, and it's something that DC is in desperate need of. It can't. I mean, DC is just in this state right now where they cannot make
Just
fun
taking
of
themselves
themselves.
too seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
but is DC the one that's completely backing this, or is it like because
Warner
okay, because like a
Brothers.
lot, yeah, I was gonna say because a lot of DC characters were in the original Lego movie, but it's not like a DC movie, so like
Well,
I
remember, Batman is
guess.
completely DC. It's just that
Well, yeah,
it's
Batman is.
really what I'm saying is not that hey, this is DC's fault as much as it's a group of people working together and whatnot, of course. But it's just one of those things where I'm happy to see a funny, lighthearted version of Batman like I did here, because I don't think I've ever seen him that way.
Yeah, I feel like they were using these trailer teasers
Yeah.
as a sort of parachute for the movie Batman versus Superman.
Mhm.
That's my thought of it.
Well, we're
Like,
actually going to
the
talk
whole
about that a little bit because it is in the news, and that is, of course, that the box office for the first weekend came out, and it's $166.1 million for the first weekend. Well, I just said that
Right.
twice, which actually it's a bit less than the projected 170 million. Not off by that much, to be honest. And I feel like it may slow down right after that because of how not only critics were bashing it, but now fans are bashing it. And it's a weird thing. Did you guys both see it? I know you saw it, Skinner. I think I saw it in the same theater
Yeah.
with you.
I think we all saw it in the same theater.
Yeah,
Yeah, I completely forgot Christina was there. Completely
and it was
forgot.
accidental. I never forget about it. But yeah,
Thanks, Sergio. Appreciate
I'm
you,
sorry.
man.
No, I apologize.
He's like, did you see it, Skinner, when you were sitting in front of me?
No, you know why? It's because Christina sat on the other side of the theater.
She came with other people, so she
Yeah.
was too cool.
So, did you guys think it was? We're not gonna do a review on the thing. We're gonna probably do a special on that because it deserves it. But did you guys think it was bad, or would you recommend it to a friend? Let's say that.
Whoa. I would definitely tell if someone's gonna see it or if someone's a fan of these movies, superhero movies, and Batman, definitely watch it and definitely watch it in theaters. You don't really have to watch it 3D at all. Like,
Yeah.
there's no need for 3D. I found 3D a little annoying. But yeah, watch it. It was entertaining. But it wasn't like, don't have high expectations for it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. How about you, Skinner?
Gosh, like as much as I didn't like it, I don't want to say that I wouldn't recommend somebody to go see it. That's pretty harsh. I think if you're into that stuff, you have to see it, no matter how bad it is. Like, I knew Green Lantern was gonna be bad, but I had to see it. Like I had to see. Okay, like let me go look at this movie. I think it's a movie that's just like it's gonna connect to some better movies. So I feel like it's just a movie that you need to see, even if it's just a segue, just for you to understand references in future movies that will be hopefully better than this one was. But I didn't really care for it. Thought the ending was cool. There's a couple characters that caught my interest, but I just thought it was too slow. I thought that it took a little bit too long to get to the punch. No pun intended, but it was just, I don't know, a little stale at the beginning for me, and a little confusing. Even me, who's like a comic guy, I was kind of like scratching my head a couple times, like, wait, what were they trying to say here? So I don't know.
Yeah.
For the average person, I'm actually surprised how many, like my family and stuff, who's not really into comics, like people were like, "Oh, it was really cool." Like I'm like, really? Like you understood what was going on? Like I don't know if people are like,
I think they were just entertained. Like, there was
it's just like,
explosions,
oh, this looks
there's
cool,
cool
yeah.
things to look at. They introduced Wonder Woman, and she was really interesting. I must say, I can't wait for her movie to come out. I hear there's a movie on the
Yeah,
way.
no, guaranteed. We're gonna have like
yeah.
fully decked out solo movies for everyone. I think Ben Affleck is actually going to I think he's writing the next Batman solo movie.
He's writing and he's writing and starring in his own Batman movie.
I
which
guarantee
think is
you,
gonna be great.
after
That's
sad
Or
Ben
directing.
Affleck,
I don't know if he's writing.
after sad Ben Affleck, like he's gonna be like dedicated to this right now. So I actually am willing to see it. So anyways, I don't want to talk anymore about BvS as a review or like about that because we're gonna go back to the box office. It took $250 million to produce this movie, so I honestly think they're gonna make their money back and maybe a little bit more. The reason for that is because, in my opinion, this is the definition of a popcorn flick. This is the kind of thing that it's just explosions. It's like eye porn. Eye porn?
Mindless.
What is
Mindless.
that?
Well, most
That was
Snyder
horrible.
stuff is eye porn. That's Snyder what he's good at, eye porn.
Well, yeah, I guess
Very
we can
interesting
use
to
that. I
look
don't know.
at.
It's
I
just
give it
it's eye
credit
candy. It's
on
eye
that.
candy. It just looks beautiful. I mean, I think it was shot amazingly well. The intro scene was just like I was just jaw to the floor. Like I just could not. I loved how they killed off Batman's parents. It just looked so beautiful.
Oh, spoiler, man! Batman's parents died. What?
I know.
Jeez, people haven't
Spoiler.
seen the movie, man.
I'm telling you, yeah.
How you gonna talk about his parents?
That's just the least. Trust me, I don't think there's a single person who doesn't know that they die, even if they don't know who Batman is. But
I
anyways,
just like that both his parents were from Walking Dead. That was my favorite part. But
yeah, exactly.
If you don't watch Walking Dead, you won't
Mhm.
understand.
No, I do,
But both his parents are actually actors and actresses from Walking Dead. But
which is
anyways.
interesting to say the least. But anyways, that aside, this is still the second biggest debut for Warner Brothers. And this is something we're going to talk about a little bit more on Off the Watch List, which is sort of special when we talk about these movies. And we'll bash it and say how much we love it as well in a weird way in there. So make sure to keep an eye out for that, guys. That aside, let's move over to the next topic, which is Voltron. Have you guys seen Voltron growing up? You have to be honest, by the way.
I have not. I know what he is, but that wasn't my cup of tea when I was growing up. I was more into Beast Wars.
I loved Beast
Animorphs,
Wars, yeah. How about you, Christina?
Stuff like that.
I would watch like through my with my peripheral when my brothers were watching, so I remember like his build and stuff. But no, like I'm not a fan. I can't recall an episode.
You know what's funny to me is that like I still to this day will watch. I still to this day will watch 80s shows. Like I'm a huge He-Man fan. Like I still watch it right now.
See,
But
I didn't grow up. I was born '89, so I just missed like all that.
no,
So,
same here. But they still aired it because I had public television, so they would actually show
Okay.
that stuff. But one of the things that I never really actually had the chance to see was Voltron. I had toys, but I didn't grow up seeing it. I watched random little episodes here and there, but it's sad to say that I didn't see it, and I'm gonna actually catch up because of it now. But I love that they're rebooting this because Netflix is now they're now known for taking classics and like playing with our
making them good.
nostalgia. Yeah, and just like bringing it back. They do not let our memories die. You know what I mean? So
No.
it's like, all right, so that show's over. Full House, it's over. Okay, they're all grown up, and it's like they give them that potion or something, and they bring back the dead. And you know, it's weird to say the least, but nostalgia
They've been
is a hell
nailing
of a
it.
thing.
I mean, all the Netflix originals and stuff have been actually the ones that I've seen. And I know there's many more that I have not seen, but for the most part, like they do a pretty good job. Even if I haven't seen it, I read reviews and stuff, and all of the things say like, "Oh, this show's amazing. This show's amazing." So Netflix is pretty top notch when it comes to getting the right people to be on their projects, which is awesome too. That's also very exciting, knowing
Yeah.
that you'll have a good team behind this revival. You know. So.
Yeah. Well,
Netflix is king. Like they're amazing. They're a great business.
yeah.
Like
Well-
I was reading about the CEO the other day, but that's different topic.
No, it's fine. Either way, let's just talk about DreamWorks because DreamWorks Animation is actually behind this. So I was extremely excited to see that. Did you guys see the trailer though? Well, yeah, I think it is. a
Amazing.
trailer.
Yes. Many times. Yes.
So I didn't think it was at the level of DreamWorks Animation, but it definitely screams faster production because it has that.
Well.
Mhm.
No, go ahead. You can finish. I was just
It has that
formulating a thought.
style of anime that's like a 3D model that's textured by hand illustrated like kind of textures, if that makes sense. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
This is like a
Yep.
good shortcut that people take. If you watched animes, like the latest, like maybe in the last 10 years, anime has started incorporating 3D elements for the simple fact that it's just faster to produce than drawing, frame by frame.
And it looks cool
Oh,
when it's
for
fixed.
sure.
Yeah, it can look good. I just, as someone who knows it, I see it. I see it more for that than the style itself. But I mean, it still looks good though.
What I grasped from it, I think it would have been weird to have it as like for example, because like How to Train Your Dragon is also DreamWorks, and they're also coming to Netflix. So like, if you would have taken like that style of animation, very like Pixar looking, I don't think it would have been right. I think that it's cool that they stuck with this traditional look. Like
Yeah.
it's obviously updated, cleaner, and like newer. Like it's fresh, but it still attributes to like what the original was in the sense that it's hand drawn. Like you didn't completely just turn this into like a completely new thing. People who grew up with Voltron will still be able to be like identify with it and see like, oh wow, like it looks new. Like kind of they just redid Sailor Moon recently.
Yeah.
And like they kept the same animation.
Sailor
but
Crystal, right?
Yeah, but they cleaned it up and they made all the transformations are like more elaborate. Like I like that they kept it to what it is, but they also
Revamp.
expanded on
Yeah.
what it could be. So
Yeah, and I mean, so also as a heads up from what the press release had, this is going to be the pilot's backstory is what we're going to focus on in this season, and the season consists of 13 episodes, and they're all going up on June 10th. Which, by the way, I love that. I love that so
that's my
much.
favorite Netflix feature ever.
Yeah, I have to
Here's your
say that's like
binge. Here you go.
I can still see how people have problems with it, but I love it to death. I mean, it just looks
It's
so
the
awesome.
best.
It's
So
just
good.
great to see, to
If I
know
was
you
still
have
like
everything
on week
already.
2 of Daredevil, I don't know what I would do with my life. I would literally be like on episode 2 right now, waiting for next week. So the fact that I'm able to
Trust
watch
me.
all of them.
Yeah.
is amazing.
All right, so now we're gonna go over to Thing of the Week. I'm not saying it because Ricky's not here, but we're gonna leave that as an exclusive thing that he does. So
Okay.
And
what I'm
living
gonna do
memory,
is just
Ricky Kazda.
what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna quickly say Thing of the Week, and then just toss it over to someone. So Christina, what is your Thing of the Week?
Well, my thing of the week is the Curvy Barbie. And I had to say, I'm the girl, so
Oh,
I had to bring up a girl
well,
for
well,
our
hold on.
lady viewers.
For the lady viewers.
For the lady viewers. No, but this is like for everybody. But the reason why I found it so interesting is because they actually they introduced Curvy Barbie and they gave the doll to these girls, and then
Yeah.
they left the room and the girls didn't know that they were still being watched. And when
It
an
sounds
adult
extremely
wasn't in-
creepy, by the way.
yeah, it sounds a little creepy, but
I was like,
when the kids didn't know they weren't being watched, they were making fun of the doll. Like they were making fun of her body. But when the adults came back in, they were like, oh, I'm glad they're making this doll to represent other body types. So basically kids are full of BS.
Okay, well
What
that's
else
extremely
is
offensive
new?
to
I'm
children.
all the children watching.
I'm sorry, children. No, but it kind of I believe teaches us two things. That these dolls are important, to have dolls to represent different body types, because there is such a like in our society, only like sin is in basically. So I thought that was important.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that you can't take things by face value. So like if you read a piece of research or you hear, people are saying this or that, like sometimes they're just saying it because they know they're being recorded or they know they're being watched or whatnot.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I agree. I think it's definitely something that it's tough to explain to kids because this is a society thing. This has been around before us, longer before us. The perfect body thing, the perfect body image kind of thing. It's something that's very difficult to explain to kids, and you have to be extremely sensitive with kids when it comes to body image. But
Yeah.
you know, it's not only Barbie too. Like I look around me, and almost every single toy I have has like a perfect mold. You know what I mean? Like it's based off
Yeah.
of, you know, like superheroes in general, right? So I completely get what you mean with that, and I think it's definitely something that is helpful for kids. Because then if they start accepting it, oh look, this is more common, like, you know, more Barbies start doing it. I can see how that kind of thing can really help change the view that these kids have, especially if their parents don't have it.
Yeah. And I think another important thing we should be teaching kids is just that it's fantasy.
Of
Like,
course, yeah.
yeah.
How about you, Skinner? What's your thing of the week?
Well, on the topic of fantasy, so some pictures surfaced either yesterday, the day before, sometime this week, of Disneyland Shanghai, which has been like a pretty big production. They've actually cut like a bunch of budget from like the other Disney parks, like here in Orlando, and they've been using it to like fund this ginormous park that they're building in Shanghai.
Really?
And
I didn't know they were taking the funds from it.
yeah, they
Uh,
cut. I know a lot of employees over at Disney. They've been cutting their hours, and you would think Disney has enough money,
Oh, you know
but
what? Yes, I think that actually makes sense as to why they're importing people from
they've been,
other
yeah,
countries. Yeah.
importing. Yeah, they're doing a whole bunch of that stuff. Like they've been trying to, I guess, stay on their budget because they're way over budget. But the park is beautiful. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but pretty much they had a drone fly over and just take these aerial shots, and it's huge. I mean, it makes Disneyland look like the fair, like the
oh,
regular
wow.
Disneyland in Cali. It's tiny, you know, it's huge, and the castle's very cool, very traditional looking, and I don't know, I'm just really excited. I'm a big Disney person, so like I really thought that it was cool and amazing that we have these drones now that could literally just fly over and take all these
Oh yeah, of
like
course.
secret pictures, you
Dude,
know. But
DJI, man, that's where it's at.
yeah, but it's pretty impressive if you get around to looking at the pictures. I mean, you could see, you know, the amount of square space that they're using for this, and it's a
You,
huge park.
Oh,
So
it's really cool.
aside from
I'm
it
also
being
curious as to
beautiful,
like, is it going to be an English park or is it going to be?
no, I
Disney
guarantee you they're
obviously.
gonna have, yeah, they're gonna probably have English speakers, you know, like people speaking English in
Different
there.
languages.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
probably gonna be tailored towards, you know, its location with people knowing
Right.
English. In addition, just for the most part, that's how other countries are now. You know, like everyone has to know at least some type of English because it's just, you know, America. I guess that's
Right.
everything you need.
Well, because
Obama.
again, I posted on one of my social media things, and I was like, "Oh, who wants to go with me?" Like as a joke, and a friend of mine who lives in Orlando, she's like, "Oh yeah, my friend is going there. Like he's gonna be working there." And I'm guessing by her friend, it's somebody that lives in Orlando. So I guess they're sending people over there, and that's kind of a crazy opportunity to go from
Yeah,
Orlando to Shanghai to work, you know, for
they need to
Disney.
imprison them in the small world side of America.
Oh, Sergio, always
But
scaring everybody.
but I will say this.
First say I, not Disney.
I will
Sergio
say
is
this
the
though.
truth.
I will say this. I'm sure it looks beautiful. First off, what is shocking to me is for someone like Disney to say we're over budget. Do you know how much money they make? It's just if you look into it, look at any documentary and they'll talk about how I mean they get
Yeah,
Coca-Cola products and like all this. You look into those things, they make so much money. So
but look,
when they say they're going over budget, it must be for astounding reasons.
Yeah.
but listen, like I used to go to Disney almost like once a month until recently, and
What? Wow.
yeah, I used to go a lot. But I just every time I go there, I always grab somebody, one of my friends, and I'm always like, look, think about every individual thing that they sell here and like the things they need to buy here, like fireworks that they have to send off every day, all the products they have to bring in every day, all the flowers, all the people they have to pay. Like whoever's doing all their numbers and stuff, like their budgets have to be ridiculous. Like
Oh yeah.
and another thing is like they don't share Disney parks don't share funds with the movie, you know, movie stuff. So, for example, the Avengers and all this stuff that's been coming in, it's Disney's profit, but they are not using that towards the parks. The parks are
Yeah.
their own separate thing, entity. So, I don't know. I think it's interesting because I mean, you would think that they just have billions of dollars laying around, but I mean, evidently, like, I guess
Well,
they're
remember, they're
trying
gonna
not
have a
to
lot
break
more
the bank.
money when they replace all their employees with animatronics.
Oh, yes.
It's very
Very
true.
And
cool.
and the tickets for the park, the opening day, which is June 16th, they're already sold out. So I have a feeling they'll be making their money back pretty quickly as soon as that park opens
Yeah.
up. But it's going to be interesting to see, you know, how
Yeah.
successful it is over there.
Can
Yeah.
we talk about how everything just sells? Everything that's worth watching or going to just sells out in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, it's a new
Oh,
thing
yeah,
now.
of course. Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't
Tickets
you
are so
want to give your
accessible and
money
stuff now.
to people before you get anything? It just doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense why you wouldn't want to do that.
It's true.
But I will say though, pre-orders. Yeah, I agree with you. The pre-orders have become like such a common thing these days.
Just
It's just
say you're
we
the
like
first one. Yeah.
we like saving our spots. You know, it's just a very common thing now, especially with people going as crazy over like just theater in general. That's the main thing I use it for, and to pre-order products here and there. But it's
And
just
you feel
yeah, it's,
exclusive. You feel like, oh yeah, I got tickets. You know, oh yeah, I got this new. I got the iPhone first. Yeah. Oh, it's sold out when you went. Oh, I got one. You know, it's just like it boasts like it's like a prideful thing, I guess. Like people like to be first. That's why they pre-order it and wait in line. Like, why do you wait for Comic-Con tickets? Because you want to say you went, right? You want to go and be like, oh man, like I was there. Oh, you saw it on the computer. Well, I was there. So like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of reasons why
people
that's kind of
definitely get a
become-
high off of it, guaranteed.
Yeah, I think that's not
I
not the main
wonder-
reason, but
Since now we can purchase things online, like for something like the Disney park in Shanghai or I don't know, Lollapalooza, I wonder if they have like a robot like ordering these tickets so then they can resell them. I don't know.
Oh, you never
it's
know,
not
dude. That's the hard
There's
part. You never know. You know what? It's like
Makes
voting,
sense.
like voting electronically. It's like, how do you know that this vote is being counted? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then you can really get into that and just become paranoid. Just start wrapping
Oh my
tinfoil around
gosh,
your head.
yes.
Illuminati confirmed.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So, thanks for asking, guys. My thing of the week is the Iron Giant Ultimate
Oh.
Collector's Edition.
Just about to ask that.
So, I've been talking about Iron Giant on this show for, I think maybe like 5 episodes now.
Since I knew you,
Oh
Yes.
really?
like 30 years
Iron
ago.
Giant is so beautiful.
It is, I think, by far
So
my
sweet.
favorite animated film. It really has to be because I just love it so much. Now, the thing is, one of the things I mentioned before, it's just it doesn't get the credit it deserves. So when I heard about them bringing it back to select theaters, I freaked out. And as a major fan, I didn't see it. I didn't get a chance to get tickets. I don't know
So you weren't
why.
exclusive.
I know.
I
That's what I'm
know.
saying.
We were just talking about
Stop.
that. You're not exclusive.
I know.
And he just said, "I love getting." like,
Trust
my
me, I
ticket
know.
first."
But so now what happened is after that, now they talked about releasing it on Blu-ray for the first time. By the way, that is a massive crime. Like Blu-ray.
For the first
I can't
time.
believe
say-
they haven't released it on Blu-ray.
Now the reason that's such a big thing is because that means they have to remaster the thing. They have to remaster it to look good, right? So this is going to be fully remastered and enhanced with 2 additional scenes, which I'm gonna like scream
Oh, wow.
like crazy, like a little girl, you know. like a
Two
little girl.
additional scenes.
I'm telling you. Oh well,
Oh,
listen,
no.
it's
That's
hand
so awesome.
hand rendered
That's so
first off.
exciting.
but-
rendered.
I'm telling you, dude. If I asked you right now to give me a minute worth of animation, I guarantee you would turn into a ball and cry to death over that kind of work.
Pages of animation.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's my thing. It's also going to be available in a signature edition, which is a nice fancy way of saying the cheapo version of the Blu-ray. The Ultimate Collector's Edition comes with a bunch of other stuff, which you're most likely just going to put on a shelf because I'm telling you as someone who has experience, I still have
Yeah,
all my
someone who
Batman
has
movies over there.
Things on their shelves. Yeah,
Exactly,
like,
yeah. It's out this year, September 6th, and it'll also include a new documentary that's called The Giant's Dream, which I can't wait to
Oh
see.
wow!
Oh,
I'm
the
so excited
Giants.
for this.
I'm telling you, look, Skinner,
I saw
have you
that-
seen
I
it?
saw this movie.
Please tell me you've seen it.
Of-
I have. I
Iron
saw it
Giant?
projected on like
Yeah.
outdoors, projected on a wall. Like it was,
No.
and it was beautiful like that. So I can't wait to see it on Blu-ray.
No,
And I
I've never
hope they
seen it.
re-release it in theaters.
Wait,
too.
you haven't seen it?
No, I've seen
You
it.
have to. It's
Just kidding,
so
I'm just
beautiful.
kidding,
Oh,
I was gonna say, dude, if you haven't seen the
That's why I hear
Lego
Sergio
movie,
yelling at me.
I get excited. I don't know. I get excited when someone hasn't seen a film I really love because I'm like, oh my
gotta
gosh,
see it.
you have to see it.
Yeah.
And then you have to tell me about it. We have to talk about it right after. I don't
no, trust me, I know. All right, so thing of the week's out of the way. We have a few more things to talk about before we wrap it up. One of them being FLCL. Do you know what that means, Skinner?
Yeah, Fully Cooley.
How about
very,
Cristina?
Very familiar.
I know about it.
So, Fooly Cooley, I think, is one of the few anime that really pushed me
Anime.
into anime.
I like this. I like the really
Anime.
subpar ones, so they're anime.
The way you spell it is ANIMEH.
Yeah, they're anime.
The H is Japanese.
Well,
Oh.
the colors in the music is gorgeous.
Yeah,
Just
Fully
beautiful.
Cooley.
Yeah, so
I
it's one of
I got into Fully Cooley when I first started getting into anime, and I didn't understand it. I was like, "What is going on? Why is there a spaceship coming out of his forehead? Like, what's happening?" But I went back and watched it again, like after I was more like well-rounded in anime, and it was, yeah, I need it on, please, thank you.
yeah.
And
The
it was
reason the reason I love it is because as someone who's grown used to these cartoons that I grew up with, anime has the ability to be the complete opposite of what you see. Like it's just it's just it's 6 episodes first off, and they're completely over the top, and it is hilarious. It was one of my favorite series because not only the style, but there was actually a good chunk of story in there that I could never find anywhere else. Like I don't think there's anywhere else where I can find that a story where a kid has something growing out of his forehead,
It was
and
just, it just
it's
didn't
like,
make any sense.
you know what I mean? It's just so random, but I loved it to death. And one thing that they keep bringing back is Dragon Ball Z. Like, have you guys seen the latest iterations of Dragon Ball Z?
Super. I heard
Sorry
it's
for it.
mediocre.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't
That's
seen
it's crap, in my opinion. I think it's crap.
Mhm.
It's just because now they're at god level, and it's like, okay, so how do you keep what? And now they're gods and they
Welcome to
suck.
animes.
It just doesn't make any
you
sense.
can just throw anything out there, and then
That's
people are gonna buy
everything
it,
now.
or-
Any ongoing series that you could talk about that's like in like chapters like 400 to 500 in manga, it's like they're just
Oh, yeah.
gods and like they're just making stuff up.
They're
That's why
just-
I like these shorter series better. I feel like
I agree.
they get to the point.
I
And it's like,
agree.
wow, it ended. Like that was a cool ending.
High five.
Yeah.
Like,
Same
Yeah.
same thing.
As opposed to just dragging it out, it's like I've been reading Naruto for like 7 years. Why is it still happening? I don't.
That's what I'm saying, though.
thank you. Oh my god.
If you keep it going, what happens is it's at that point just for the money. Like literally, there's no other reason. And this is what's happening to TV sometimes too, where it's like there's no end in sight. And I think that sort of makes it seem like, well, it's like if when you have a book and you can check by the size of it that you're like, oh, I can read this within a small amount of time. But then if you see a book that's just like you open it and there's no way to tell how big this thing is. That's like sort of Naruto in a sense, because how many episodes were they in? Just the anime, not the manga. It's like
Right.
an infinite amount. Like I remember,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let me
But
see what
that's
this
like
is
the
all
new
about.
Standard now is, and I can't stand it. It's like a new thing now that they just have these ongoing series with no end in sight, and it's frustrating because
They're
you can
just-
feel them pulling it like out of a hat. Like they're just like,
They're
here.
just like squeezing like all the juice in that lemon. Basically.
It's really they're just pushing as much out of it as they can before it collapses on its own weight. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is because this is sort of the complete opposite. This is like, okay, what kind of a story can we tell in 6 episodes? And you really
Well,
leave
there's
the
2 seasons confirmed, right? For Fully Cooley.
So yeah, so
2
we
and
have
3.
so it's well, first off, it's Adult Swim plus Production IG, which is known for Ghost in the Shell, which by the way I'm also a huge fan of. And
Yeah, it's pretty good.
they're making 2 new seasons and 6 episodes each, again following that same formula that sort of worked so
awesome.
so well for them. And like we just said right now, the reason I love that is because you can have that in my opinion a good story is written from beginning to end, right? As in like, okay, so then you fill in the blanks, or you can work around that in many ways, but this leaves you feeling fulfilled. It's not like open-ended where you're like, I have no idea where the characters went, I have no idea what, use your imagination. I personally don't like that, so that's why I love these shorter versions of anime.
but like
I agree.
very complete.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm excited for that. Like I think we need more content with like creative integrity, I
Yeah.
guess.
No, of course.
Yeah. So
That's true.
I'm just curious as
yeah.
to where they'll go with it, because it's the same war again with Medical Mechanica and Fraternity, which are like the huge entities that are like at war with each other. And now what's happening though is we're having a new character. Haruko returns to help her unlock her secret. Haruko being the psychotic, weird. I don't know if she's psychotic or if it's a she, the alien herself, or itself.
Yeah.
But there's no word on Naota.
So it is a continuation then.
It's sort of a continuation, yes, but with the alien going somewhere else to someone else to unlock a different power. So I'm no confirmation on the old characters yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something happen with that.
Yeah,
And
well, they'll probably do like a little tribute to like
Like little
Yeah.
cameos.
Yeah.
and I mean the best part, it only took 16 years to get to this point, so to season 2.
That's it. That's all it took.
Only.
Yeah, and it's going to premiere in Adult Swim on the Toonami block, by the way, which is pretty awesome, in late 2017 or early 2018. So, the second one sounds good, but it's probably worse.
Got some time.
Yeah. So that actually covers the big topics for today, and then we have two little things on the side that we may as well get out of the way just to say, hey, we talked about them, okay? That's why they're on the show notes. The one thing, I don't know if you guys saw it, but since we're talking about anime, Pacific Rim had this, some guy on Vimeo made this Pacific Rim anime intro. Did you guys see it?
Nope, I haven't even seen Pacific Rim, to be honest with you.
Oh, dude, so much hate right now.
This is so funny.
Don't fight me.
So
This is like, oh, dude,
Nobody fight me, please.
the cringe, my cheeks, dude. Oh.
I know the whole the Pacific Rim soundtrack because of my nephew, and I'm I'm dying to watch Pacific Rim because
Oh,
Guillermo del Toro is one of my favorite directors. But I haven't yet. But I've heard the soundtrack. Like I haven't.
Well, you guys have homework, and I guarantee you, once you watch Pacific Rim, if you like anime in general, you're gonna love Pacific Rim, especially if you like, Evangelion or anything like Gundam, anything with mechs in it. You're gonna love it because it's just an amazing.
Funny story. I have a friend who her brother has it's kind of off topic for a sec, but he has an amazing theater built in his house, and it's the best 3D I've ever seen. Like I've been to a million 3D, I've been to Disney, all that stuff, but like this 3D projector he has is like out of this world. And we didn't get to watch the whole movie, but just to show it off, he just put the opening sequence from Pacific Rim. So it's all I've seen is the opening sequence. But when I tell you that it was raining inside the room, like the rain is falling inside of the room throughout the whole fight, and it's a whole water, like they're in the ocean battling.
Yeah.
But that's the way I need to watch Pacific
Yeah,
Rim.
I have a
It was,
3D one as well.
Insane.
I've only heard great things about Pacific Rim, and I know people say that a lot. Like, I've only heard great things, but no, seriously, like I've only heard great things about Pacific Rim, and I'm dying to watch it. So
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is you can watch it right now after this call, after the show.
The movie? I'm gonna watch it right now.
Go watch it right after, and then you can
Got
watch
it. Watch it live.
the Pacific Rim title sequence that they made. This guy made it in anime form, so it's like 80s anime, that kind of cheesy like like that kind of like weird sounding. I can't even
like that.
come up with it, but it's just so great. It's so classic. It's just so it's simplistic. The shapes are like simplified, so there's not that much decorative aspect to it, but it's great, guys. So if you do see the movie, watch this right after, and it'll just make you cry tears of joy. It's just so good. The last thing, it's literally me throwing this in there. Rogue Squadron, the Star Wars game from Nintendo 64, is now on Steam, which means I'll be playing it very soon. So I just wanted to bring that up because that's one of my favorite games. Have you guys played that or have seen that?
Rogue Squadron. I thought that said Rogue One. I was like here prepping, like, all right, I'm gonna talk about Rogue One.
No.
And you just busted it out with the N64.
They're definitely putting that in there because of the movie, by the way. And I sort of wish. I wish they made a game like this for the movie because that game was so fun when I played it. It actually feels like you're in the movie, unlike any other game out there. Every other game out there tries to do its own thing with it.
Ricky and I talk about the best movie all the time. It was the first game that came out for the N64, and I don't remember the name. I'm gonna look it up right now.
So it must not be that great then.
But can we all play? Can we play together?
Let's do it.
Is that a game?
I'm sure there's ways we can use it on N64.
Let's live stream
emulate
us playing the game.
We can emulate that easily.
Here
yeah.
it is. Shadows of the Empire.
Oh no, Shadows look, I loved Shadows of the Empire.
That game is so good, man.
Now, look, although it was good, it was horrible.
I'm so excited.
It was really bad. I remember very clearly being killed by it had a horror aspect to it.
You flew through Hoth and you had to actually trip the AT-AT.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's you get to do pretty much the same thing on Rogue Squadron. But it's one of those games that once you play it again, you realize how bad it was. You know what I mean? I loved it. Don't get me wrong.
No,
but
don't crush
it's
my
like
dreams.
Superman on Nintendo 64. There's people who are like, oh, I remember
my
that game.
God, that game was so good.
See what I mean? That game is literally
games-
known
I
for
don't
how bad it
know.
is.
64 was like my childhood.
You can't, yeah, nostalgia kind of like overrides like
Easily.
I just
yeah.
don't even want to see it.
realizing something sucks. It's
I
like,
used to be a
no.
diehard Beast Wars fan, which is a Transformers series for those of you who don't know, and I was like obsessed growing up. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna download all the seasons and I'm gonna rewatch them. I watched 10 minutes, if that, and I was like, what am I watching? It's so bad.
I'm telling you, that's
So
what
I
it is,
just-
man.
I just couldn't do it.
You got to leave it in the back of your
Whatever.
mind and use
It's
that
so
as the
much
only
more
way of
beautiful
looking
in
back
my
at
mind.
it.
It wasn't like funny bad though. Like
It was really cheesy, corny, terrible bad. Like all the animations are just like blocky and like oh, it was horrible. It was so bad.
It sounds
So
that way.
I just turned it off and said, you know what? We're just gonna leave that in my memory. And
That's what you have to do, yeah.
better.
I can
It's like,
still go back and watch like Sailor Moon, and I think it's the best thing ever. Like,
Yeah, but I don't know.
I
don't
went
know.
back
This
to
was
my
good.
Game Boy
This was
Advanced.
good.
I opened up my Game Boy Advance like in a box, and I was like, you know what? Let me start playing the games because I had such fond memories with it. As soon as I turned it on after charging it for like an hour or whatever the batteries, I realized there was no backlighting on it, so I couldn't see it.
Yep.
I turned it off. It's
That
back in the
was a struggle.
box. So
was
and
a
then I played the
struggle.
emulator
I
on my
used to
phone.
have that crazy clamp that you'd
Yeah,
like
the
put on
clamp
top
light.
that would like shine a flashlight into your
Yeah,
screen.
which
you
is
could play.
so archaic if you think back on it.
That
All right,
was
so do you guys have anything else for this week? Anything else newsworthy?
great. Newsworthy.
You said something about Batman versus Superman, where they had a
Oh.
petition.
Oh yes, that's right. I did say that. So apparently, I don't know.
This
how
just
much-
in.
This just in.
I've always wanted to say that.
So there's a petition going around in reference to getting Zack Snyder off of the Justice League movie. I don't know.
Wow.
Don't know how official it is or whether or not WB or anybody DC will even look at it, but I signed it and a lot of other people have too, and it would seem
Oh, wow.
pretty clear that nobody wants Zack Snyder to be a part of the DC universe anymore.
Oh,
You know what's
my
weird to me is that I think I actually like most of his movies. I'm one of the guys that liked Man of Steel, but
Those are good.
did it too, yeah.
I'm a huge Watchmen fan, and I loved the movie. Some people hate. I don't know how. I mean, as someone who's read the comic too, I get it. I get what he did.
Watchmen is a different
I
kind of movie.
liked
though.
Watchmen, and I liked its soundtrack, but I didn't like how it went together.
I see.
That
Well-
was what made me feel uncomfortable.
But I really
Wow.
didn't have a problem with the guy. I think what happened though is that they pretty much decided to hand him all of the DC universe. They said, "Here, take all of it," and they just crammed it in his face. And I think, you know, what happened with Star Wars, for example, I think we're going to see a number of directors take on Star Wars, and I don't think it's always a negative. You know, some people think, hey, this guy did a great job, let him keep doing it. There's a few things that come into play that, you know, I don't think you need that same director for everything. Maybe it's a little bit better to have a different take on Batman, on Superman. You know what I mean? Because if the same guy does it, you're going to get the same vibe throughout.
It's cool for certain things. Like, for example, I mean, the most recent one I could think of is Nolan. Like, Christopher Nolan, like, the Batman trilogy was his. And, you know, that was, like, start to end, his vision of this universe, you know? So that, in that sense, it would have been weird to hand it off to a
Yes,
different director. Because, I mean, that's his vision, you know? So,
Yeah.
but I don't know that this is Snyder's vision. This is just, I feel like this is just Snyder directing.
I don't think he ever went into it thinking, I'm going to direct everything.
It's not like his legacy. Like, here, this is your project. You know, like
it
I
was
think he was just
for
assigned
money.
to direct it.
Yeah, and it was just like you go in, you watch it. It's definitely just to make money. Have people go and eat popcorn, watch the film.
Yeah, and you know, with Marvel, for example, that's a ton of movies. You know what I mean? And I will say they all feel like they connect in a weird way, but it's like, you know, how you have different characters for every movie. Like you have Ant-Man, you have Thor, you have Guardians of the Galaxy. They're all different, but they sort of feel like they're part, you know, of the same universe. And what's funny is that they're different directors, right? So that works out really well for them. If right now people are having problems with these two movies, the first thing people are going to look at are the directors. Or maybe actually no, the writing too. Let's be honest.
But I think that
Writing
this
and
is
direction,
pretty
yeah.
evident. I think in this case, in this special scenario, like it was pretty clear like what people didn't like about this movie. Like it wasn't like I didn't like Ben Affleck, so I'm blaming Zack Snyder. You know, like I felt like the pieces were there, they just weren't put together correctly. It was like having all the puzzle pieces like laid on the table, but you just can't find where they fit. So you just kind of
Yeah.
super glue them together. You know, it's just kind of like disjointed, and I believe that that's unfortunately on Snyder.
Yeah, of course.
And
That's what happens. You need someone to lead, and if it fails, you need someone for that to fall on. Yeah.
I agree. When you're watching the film, you definitely feel like there wasn't the direction was off. Like he didn't decide on a clear tone. On like he there was way too much going on. Like the leadership in that movie was just, the direction was horrible. But like the reason why I'm just so like I actually am starting to feel bad for Zack Snyder. I heard Hans Zimmer after this movie just is retiring from superhero movies. So that
I don't know if it's because of that reason that we think though. I feel like it's probably like, okay, it's been a while.
He's
but it's like the worst time to decide to say it, to like announce to the world like
it's definitely hurting.
Yeah,
not the
it's
industry,
hurting
I
the
suppose.
Superman, Batman versus Superman image further.
Yeah, it definitely.
And without touching too much on it, because I know we're gonna do a separate segment for this movie, but then like a few days later, you released a deleted scene. Like I've never heard of that in my life. To see a deleted scene for a movie that came out like 2 days before, and it looked pretty relevant to me. Like it's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
there was a
clear
major character.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is like, it wasn't like Clark Kent tying his shoes. It was like, this is important. Like, why is this?
Trust me. Now, that aside, we can also talk about the fact that they talked about the Blu-ray release already.
Like a day
before the movie came out.
The parachute, which was the Lego Batman movie, that's the parachute, and then they're throwing lifesavers too, like which is
crazy.
Yeah, they're throwing lifesavers, which is the deleted scene and everything else. Oh gosh.
All right, so
I feel bad.
Before we cringe to the point of affecting our teeth in a dental way, let's call it quits, guys. I think we covered the news. We did our job. We got paid well.
Oh yeah. Checks in the mail.
Let's just let the crickets go do their thing for a little bit. But thank you so much for joining me, guys. That was a fun, family-packed episode.
Thank you for having us.
We'll see you soon, hopefully.
We'll see you guys around.
It was a pleasure.
Thanks so much for watching, guys.